Hello, and welcome to the final game of today. And yeah, we have an interesting story that we want to tell you. And I don't know what the story is. My players don't know what the story is. You obviously don't know either. So let's find out together. My name's Simao. I'm going to be your game master for the evening. We're going to be playing, as it is tradition with me on the stream, 10 Candles, a tragic horror story. This is a game by Stephen Dewey, and it's published by Cavalry Games. I would like to open up to the table so we can see the lovely, lovely 6 players that I'm going to terrify for the next 2.5 hours. Please, let's go for a small introduction, starting with players to my left, and then we'll go around the table.
Hello, I'm Rob.
I'm Pat.
I'm Finn.
I'm Lewis, you've seen me before.
Hello, I'm Oren. I'm James.
Great. The majority of you have played 10 Candles before. Some of you have not, and so it's going to be fun. I just want to read, instead of trying to explain what the game is to those of you that don't know, and instead of trying to just make up some stuff, I'm just going to read from the book because it's got a very good sort of introduction that I think it's really sets the tone. So. This is a game about telling a story. The story that we will tell is not a kind one and far from a happy one. It is the sort of story that has sharp edges, the kind that lingers long after it's gone, nesting in nightmares and drifting on every shadow. The kind that no one wants to tell, therefore the kind that needs to be told. This is a story about what happens in the dark, about survivors trying to light up their little corner of the world and do something meaningful within the next few hours that they have left. This is a story about desperation and about when people like you and I fight against the darkness, only to inevitably and inescapably be consumed by it. I said earlier that the game is a tragic horror story. It's very similar to survival horror story with a very, very, very tiny little difference. The survival horror implies the possibility of characters making it out alive, which is not the case tonight. By the end of the 3 hours, all 6 characters around the table will be dead. And it is our job, of the 7 of us here, to make those deaths, make those final moments worthwhile and meaningful. So, you might be a bit, well, okay, what characters are we playing? Part of 10 Candles is all about rituals and about setting up things that continue and repeat, not only in this game, but in games that you play or run of this later. So, we're going to start with the very first part of our ritual, which is I'm going to ask Jimmy to please light up 3 candles.
Jimmy's head has been cut off on the stream.
It's fine. And we're going to start by creating the actual characters that we're going to be playing tonight. So, you all have index cards, and I would like you to pick 2 of them and write on top of one the word virtue, and on top of the other the word vice. And then, once you've done that, I would like you to think about a virtue and a vice. And these will be sort of the character traits of characters. So, an example is that a virtue is something that solves more problems than it creates, and a vice is something that does the opposite, is something that creates more problems than it solves. I can give you some examples of virtues: lucky, resourceful, watchful, merciful, and vices: afraid, greedy, regretful, addicted, naive, controlling, etc., etc., etc. I would like you to think about those and just have a general idea. Try to keep it to 1 word, if possible, and let me know once everyone's done. While you're doing that, I'll try to explain a little bit about the rules of the game. 10 Candles uses D6s to work out. So whenever there's a situation that I understand requires or has an uncertain outcome, let's say, I will ask for what is called a conflict roll. You will pick up your pool of dice. We have 2 sets of 10 d6s here, but if we're playing a little closer, it will be just one, so it's a communal pool of dice. So you'll roll your however many dice you have available, which I will explain a little bit. That might change as time goes on. And if you get a single 6, you succeed on the roll. That's it. If you don't get any 6s, then it means that the conflict failed, and we darken a candle. The game will finish when all the candles are darkened.
And we die.
Yes. And then we'll move on to the next scene. If you roll 1s on your sort of conflict, then those dice that you rolled 1s on are removed from the scene, and they are refilled once the scene restarts for the next one. Which means that as time goes on, you might have less dice within the within your pool. Does everyone have a virtue and a vice?
Oh, yeah.
Can the vice be? Does it have to be kind of like a personality trait, or can it be like a physical?
It has to create more problems than it solves.
Oh, that's right.
That's the only sort of guidance that we have. Yeah,
I think so.
amazing. So now let's start with the first twist of this game. I would like everyone to pass the virtue to your right and to pass your vice to your left. That will work as an intermediary here.
That is an interesting combo.
You don't write your own character traits, you get them from other players. So the ones you have now are the ones that you stay with. So I would like to please go around the table and let's see what vices and virtues we have. Let's start with Rob.
I am calm, but very critical.
I am unwavering, and I have a gammy leg
Okay.
that I used.
I am hard-working and yet thoughtless.
I am generous yet sinful.
I am outgoing, but addicted.
I am experienced, and I am a hoarder.
Very, very nice. Okay. So, I now am going to read you. I'm going to introduce you to the module that we're going to be playing. And I'm sure I wrote this somewhere. Yep. So, in 10 Candles, we play modules that are sort of the missions that we have. And so I'm going to read just the introduction to the one that we're going to be uncovering tonight. The module that we're going to be playing is called With a Bang. It is recommended for experienced players. Jimmy, Matt, you are experienced in other games, so that counts.
Also experienced.
Exactly.
We'll take it.
For the simple fact that this is a slightly different take on 10 Candles, and it is just a little bit different from what you might expect to find in the game if it was, for example, your first time playing. So, to set the world, 10 days ago, something or someone blotted out of the sky. Now no stars can be seen. All communication with satellites has been lost, and the sun no longer lights up the sky. 5 days after this anomaly occurred, they came. No one knows exactly who or what they are, but two very important things are clear. They fear the light, and they're coming for you. Following their appearance, terrified humanity lit up the world, causing massive, large-scale blackouts. Now those who are left cling to dying generators and unreliable flashlights. Small patches of survivors huddled by radios, listening hopefully for news about military rendezvous points or rumors of some illuminated oasis to reach them. But even with a destination to reach and hope to guide them there, the woods are lovely dark and deep, and there are miles to go before you sleep. So that is the world that you find yourselves in. And the module that we're going to be playing reads as such. They rule the streets, but the resistance hasn't given up the light. 10 years ago, they stole our dark world, but now all of humanity was willing to lay down and die. The streets of the metropolis are dark with their presence, as here they have flocked. A legion of them crowd this city, and you, will make it their grave. The road is perilous as they lie in wait with scouts and advanced battalions beyond them. Your best bet is the tunnels. Perhaps you can even get one of the old subway cars running, just enough to get you there. But more importantly, get the package there. The footlocker is unwieldy, but the warhead inside is worth the wait. Once you've reached the center of town, you'll need to find the car and get to the central square. It may be open on all sides, but that's where the bomb will hurt them the most. There is no other way. You know from the start this isn't a mission you'll walk away from, but it is one they will remember forever. Oh. So, as you might have worked out, the reason why this is an unusual module is that usually this is a game where they are sort of coming for you, but this one is the module where you go to them. And so you take the fight back. And we thought it's the third time we're running this on stream, so let's make it something memorable.
Rebellion.
Indeed. So, we're going to work out now the concepts. So I want you to grab another one of your index cards, and we are going to create what is called a concept. A concept is very simple. It is who your character is. So I want you to write name, look, concept in your index card, and this one will be of your character, I can tell you now. And so, as expected, I then want you to fill in your name and pronouns, and then your look. So what does your character look like on a first glance? And concept, which is, in a few words, who are they, what are they? Yes. So I will give you another couple of minutes to do that, whilst I explain a little bit how you can use traits in-game. So as I was saying, when you roll your pool, you might get ones, which are taken from the rest of the scene, unless you decide to burn, if we were playing with light flame, but in this case tear, the trait that is active, which means the trait that is on top of your pile. This will allow you to re-roll every single one that you got on that roll, potentially turn them into more sixes, or making them not ones, which means you can use them later on in the scene. When you roll, you're going to be rolling, I will also be rolling d6s. You always roll the number of d6s equal to how many candles are lit on the table. I always roll a number of d6s to how many candles are darkened on the table. Whoever rolls the most sixes gets narrative rights, which means whoever gets the narrative rights gets to tell the outcome of the roll. So it isn't a game where you ask, can I open the door and see what's inside, and then expect me to tell you what's inside. Most of the time, you're going to roll, open the door, and then tell us all what's inside. Again, the objective of the game is to just tell the story of what is happening. So it is all about the collaboration, which is wonderful. How are we doing?
So sorry, the concept is kind of who you are, what you do.
Yeah,
that sort of-
who you are, what
Okay.
what were you 10 years ago before the sun went dark, and maybe what you do now. Yeah, just quick snapshots is the idea to get here. When you use a trait as well, that is gone and used forever. You can only use it once, and it always has to be. And when you use it, you have to kind of tell how.
So our trait, we use our traits.
So
What is the traits?
whatever. Oh, is the virtues and the vices. Sorry.
Okay.
And so when you use them, you kind of have to interweave it into the story and like, why did that make a difference into the role, etc., etc., etc.
Do we choose which one's on top?
We will do later. Yes.
Still a couple of things to go through.
And yeah, like I said, whenever the roll is failed, so no sixes, we'll darken a candle, and then we'll move on to the next scene, which I will explain as well a little bit later on. Done?
Not yet.
Done? And I will need a page for notes. So we have Rob, you good?
Mm-hmm.
Pat? Lewis?
Yeah.
Oren?
Yeah.
Great. So Rob, please, can you tell us a little bit about your character?
I am Reginald Bonts. I'm an old grey-haired man, wool cardigan, brown corduroy trousers. He's 74, and Reg ain't gonna die until these bastards pay.
Nice. Pat?
Yeah, so I'm Carl Larson, mid-50s, sort of strong-looking guy, but he's a bit shabby and he limps, and he scowls quite a bit. And he is a Zamboni driver at an ice rink. And
Could you just what's a Zamboni?
so Zamboni, it's one of those machines that flattens the ice for ice
Okay,
ice
cool.
hockey
Cool,
kind of
cool,
thing.
cool.
So a bit niche.
Still think this is a joke.
But he got injured very early on in his career, which ruined his career. But he stayed on to support his kind of local team, and then got a job there, and he's sort of stayed there. So he's quite bitter, but he's very stoic. But yeah, he keeps to himself. He's a bit of a sort of mistaken maybe for a tramp, but then he's got more going on.
I am Carlton DeViet. I could only be classified as a grizzled veteran. Look just extremely dishevelled, like I don't care what anyone thinks. Always has kept his car keys on at all times, as if he's constantly been in military service this whole time. But the thing that he doesn't want to tell everyone is that actually he worked in the logistics regiment and has never seen a moment of combat in his life.
How do you spell?
Carlton, as in like, and then Viet, W-I-A-T. It's Dutch.
Cool.
Lewis?
I also seem to have gone down the military route. I'll be playing Lucy Smith. She, as you look at her, she's like blonde hair, brown eyes. The blonde hair goes down to her shoulders. Yeah, she definitely she fights in the streets, trying to take them head on. But before they came, she was a army officer. Has seen the front lines, and also is religious.
I will be playing Dennis Clint Southwood, retired Clint Eastwood impersonator. I do not own a gun, so the holster is empty. My concept is smoking gun without the gun. And I swear I didn't cheat, because I've gone with the same name, apparently. I am Dennis Ratman, and 10 years ago I was a travel agent with exceedingly house proud. Everything had its place, and then everything went very wrong, and so he descended into a kind of hoarding madness. He has wild, mad eyes and wears a large kind of trench coat of ragged material with pockets and sashes and belts and two bum bags on at any one time, as he is completely laden with useless tat.
That sounds lovely. Great. So we'll move on to the next part of our creation. Rob, would you please light 3 candles for us? And this is going to be about planning moments. So moments are, throughout the game, scenes that are very personal to your character. Something that your character will face probably alone, but it is something that will give them hope. So yes, it is an opportunity to find it. So I would want you to write at the top of the next index card, I will find hope, and then ellipses. And then I would like you to write underneath it what it is that will make your character find hope. These moments should encapsulate an event that should be reasonable to achieve. And I can give you some examples. I will find hope in a moment of prayer at a quiet church, when one of them lies dead at my feet, when the truth of the sky is revealed to me, when I find my sister, dead or alive, in the contents of my stash back home, when the fallout shelter doors closes. So a small but important moment for your character that will grant you the opportunity to win a hope die. Hope die is something that you can use once you face your moment and you hopefully succeed on the conflict roll that will come for your moment. It's you get a hope die that rolls exactly like all the other dice for yourself only, but that it rolls a success on a 5 and a 6. And if it rolls a 1, it is not lost. There is only one way to lose a dice, a hope die, and I will explain in the next part. So yeah, so it's a special dice that you have just for you that encapsulates a moment of great sort of strength and willingness to carry on. And once we all have those, we are going to read them, because it's important for us all to know what the other characters are going to find hope in, to hopefully conduct the story towards those points and then develop it from there. So let's go the same way. So let's start with Reginald's moment of hope.
Reginald would find hope when he kills one of these invaders with his own hands.
Right. And Carl?
Carl will find hope, and he sets the big fire alight as the last beacon. He's been building and building just this massive, massive
Love that.
fire.
Carlton?
When I prove my worth in the eyes of my comrades.
Lucy?
When one of them lie dead at my feet.
Dennis? Clint?
When I have a partner to share my time with.
And Dennis?
I will find hope in relief from my compulsion as a holder.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. So, does everyone understand how the moments would work in terms of sort of gameplay mechanics as well? Yeah?
If we play in a way that goes to that strength.
Yeah, so once you have that activated, which means on top of your pile, we can guide through that moment, and then you'll say, I would like to live my moment, and we'll have a conflict roll, which is roll all the dice. If you succeed on that roll, you get a special dice. That's pretty much it for now. Great. So, next up, I'm going to ask. I'll probably do it because they are. Lewis, can you reach that candle at the end there? We'll light up 3 more candles, and we are about to discover our characters' brinks, which are the opposite of the moments. So brinks are traits of your characters, but rather than describing who the character is, brinks are about describing what the character is capable of. Brinks show what a character may become when pushed to the edge of fear, hopelessness, and desperation. Brinks should call a character's humanity and sanity into question, and they are very much what the lowest of the low for your character. So I would like everyone apart from Jimmy to write on top of the final index card, I have seen you, ... And Jimmy, you have a very special role, which is you are the only character around the table who has seen them. And therefore you have the possibility of setting up what they are. You're the only person that's going to know this until you decide to discuss it or something. So I want you to write, I have seen them, and I get to decide what they have seen about Reginald. So I'm going to write, they have seen you. Which means that all the characters will know their own brink and the brink of someone else's, apart from Reginald's, because Reginald will know someone else's brink, but not, like, no one will know theirs. So I'm going to give you some examples of brinks, so that you...
Halfway down the card.
It should be also sort of like one word, very much like the virtues and vices, like a word that just describes, or a short sentence. Sometimes it's hard to keep it to a word. But for example, I have seen you kill, abandon, rage, lie, hide, cry. I have seen you destroy what you care about most. I saw you on trial before the world went dark. 3 dead, your family, you monster. I've seen you break down. I've seen you worship them. You didn't see me, but I saw you, etc., etc., etc. So, yes, very much what the character to your left is going to do at the darkest moment.
I see your concept card.
Jimmy, you get to, again, describe the brink for them.
Can I see
The
your
only rule that you have
No,
is
you
that
can
you
concept
can't
card.
use the brink to set up a weakness. You have to use their brink to set up a strength. Examples, I have seen them move like shadows, shape-shift, howl at the pale moon, consume the dead, possess the living. I have seen them, and I know this is all an experiment. I have seen them, and they serve the witch in the woods. I have seen them, and they are gods made manifest. So you get to set them up, which is a very interesting role that you have. It means that
Crikey.
every time we play this game, they are going to be different, because someone is going to have seen them do something else.
That's what I love about Candles. It's just different every time.
It's very good. And then they have seen Reginald do something. Give me a couple more minutes.
I think something that would make it really tough for us.
It doesn't need to be. It can just be. It can be very.
Because I've got an idea,
Write it
but
down.
I can't tell people, can I? Or-
You can potentially tell them during the session. Yeah,
Okay.
you can have a conversation about it. That's not a problem. Or you may decide to keep it for yourself, see how things play out.
Oh, look at this.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can all pass it to your left now if you want. Sorry. Gracias.
Interesting.
That's going to be fun.
Can you read my handwriting?
And yeah, we won't
Can you read my
share.
handwriting?
Due to the fact that these are the darkest moments of your characters, we won't share these with anyone. Thank you very much. Cool. That's cool. Amazing. So, we're almost there. I would like you all to, we're going to get to arrange the stacks. So, the rule is the brinks go at the bottom. So, and then you can organize your stacks in whichever order you would like to. Bear in mind that the only card that is active is the one that's up top. Ideally, we won't have more than one moment starting at the top when the game begins. But we can have one. But yes. So you can go vice virtue moment, you can go moment virtue vice, etc. But the brink is always at the bottom. And hopefully, by the time we finish here, we will have used all of our index cards.
Maybe.
We
Maybe.
will all be broken people.
I don't know. That's
So nothing
tough.
changes.
Yeah.
That's tough. I don't know which one. That's going on top. I don't know which one to do. Nah, I prefer that one.
We all got them? I can
Yeah.
see, I don't think anyone has their moment at the top, from what I can tell. Cool. There might be moments where I'm like looking over to see if moments are at the top, but it should be pretty clear. Next up, we're doing inventory supplies. Your character has whatever you as people have in your pockets right now. Everything else, phones don't work because there's no lights. Everything else is stuff that you can achieve during the game, either by looking over it or, yep. Right.
And a microphone.
Are
The light
we?
on my phone work in the apocalypse.
We'll find out.
Post-it notes.
And if we're all ready, I think we can begin. Yeah. We're all good to go. Yeah. Okay. So.
Phones, wallet, keys. I'm ready for a day out.
So. To remind ourselves. They rule the streets, but the resistance hasn't given up on the light. 10 years ago, they stole our dark world, but not all of humanity was willing to lay down and die. The streets of the metropolis are dark with their presence, as here they have flocked. A legion of them crown this city, and you will make it their grave. The road is perilous, as they lie in wait with scouts and advanced battalions. Beyond them, your best bet is the tunnels. Perhaps you can even get one of the old subway cars running, just enough to get you there, but more importantly, get the package there. The footlocker is unwieldy, but the warhead inside is worth the wait. Once you've reached the center of town, you'll need to find the car and get to the central square. It may be open on all sides, but that's where the bomb will hurt them the most. There is no other way. You know from the start this isn't a mission you walk away from. But this is one they will remember forever. The very final thing to do in 10 Candles, before we jump into the narrative, is that your characters are going to record a parting message to the world. Something that perhaps it was the final recording that you made before you left with the warhead. Something to remember you by. And so I'm going to pass a recorder around, and we're all going to record the final message, starting with Reginald.
This is it. I'm going. It's gonna be worth it. I'm gonna get rid of these bastards. Wish us luck.
Death is not the end. Never was the end. It's not the end. It can't be the end. I'm not religious, but there's more. There's gotta be more.
We fought this far, this hard. Each and every one of us has given our last. I think it's only fitting that we go out this way, taking the fire straight to them.
Hey, Mum. I'm glad you're not here for this. Yeah. It's rough. The front lines we've been fighting. It's at what point do we just call quits? Faith is dwindling. Everyone's my own. I wish it weren't, but love you. I'll see you on the other side.
Hey y'all. I'm feeling lucky, punk.
I can't stop. I can't stop. Can't stop picking things up and taking them. I will find release, and I will find freedom from these shackles.
It is well, everything is night now. Has been for a while, 10 years, a long time. But maybe, just maybe, this will be the last night for a while. At least for others. At least for everyone else. You find yourselves on the road. A road that leads to the city that you are trying to reach with this heavy foot locker. The car that you are currently on, you know, is not enough for the round trip. You probably have enough petrol to make it there, but you never know. Technology, everything is a bit weird for the last decade or so. So yes, you are all in a car on the road towards your destination. There are sort of trees planted on the side. Nothing shining in the sky. The only lights currently available are from the headlights of the car you find yourselves in, and the light inside. So, is there anything at this moment that you would like to discuss among yourselves? Talk a little bit. The floor is yours.
We're gonna get this thing to the subway, yeah?
That's the plan.
Anyone know how to start up one of the carriages on the trains?
Well, I know a thing or two about robbing a train.
But do you know
Starting
much
a
about
train.
starting one?
Can't be too much different.
I can operate some machinery, and I'm used to things like that. But I think maybe have a distraction as well. If they know what we're doing, there's 6 of us. There's multitudes of them.
Thousands probably in here. This is why we're striking here, right? It's where we know most of them are.
I think we all know there's no coming back.
You're young. I don't know why you guys are here, but I'm sick of this. This ain't how I was supposed to spend my retirement.
I want to light them up,
Burn them.
burn them, blow 'em to hell. If we're going to go down, it's going to end all of this. I'm not going to scuttle into some dark corner and curl up and wait.
No.
I've been waiting all my life.
Send them to
Nothing
hell.
with it.
Smoke and barrel.
I think it's a cruel irony. Send them down in a ball of fire and flame like the light of the sun that they blotted out of the sky.
Yeah, well, We've got to get this thing there, haven't we?
Easier said than done.
So, who knows where the subway is?
I might be able to help with that. Oh, not at the moment I can't. Can we just do things, or do we have to use?
What do you want to do?
I think I want to use.
You use that when you
Okay.
re-roll.
Well, I want to go through my various
Mhm.
multitudes of pockets, and I want to pull out 4, 5, 6 horrible, crusty, creased maps and lay them out.
Can you roll me a conflict roll to see if what type of stuff you might have on you? So you roll the 10 dice because all 10 candles are lit up.
For a 6 in there, right?
Sixes. Let's go.
Looking for sixes.
2.
You're looking for sixes and ones.
There's a one.
So ones are removed. So from this pool, let's remove 2 dice as well. Unless you want to burn a virtue to try and re-roll those and make it not ones.
I don't know how serious it is to lose 2 at this point, so I think I'll continue in blissful ignorance.
You rolled more sixes than I did, because I'm not rolling at the moment. 'Cause
Okay.
all candles are lit up. So please describe what it is that you take out.
I go through and I pull out these various maps from a specific pocket that has one of the specific pockets that has all the various bits of paperwork that I've managed to hold on to that have some value, i.e. no value to anyone but me. And there is a map to a children's kind of play park, and it's got all these kind of wicked looking mascots and everything. That's fine. And if anyone tries to kind of go and smooth out these maps, like bang, these are mine. And in the end, I find a section of an ordnance survey that has been attempted to be folded back into some reasonable fashion, but nothing short of Mensa can fold them back. And so in the end, it's just been torn out, and I place these various pieces of these chunks on my lap, and I. We need to go here. It's a bit out of the way, as stations go, and I think there'll be less of them there.
That map shows it goes to near the centre.
Assuming the tunnels haven't collapsed.
That sounds like
Good as sure as any.
it's several miles off the road though.
You don't strike gold digging in the same place as others.
You know we're not like in the Wild West, right?
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Each to their own.
No.
You asked me where I think is best. We can go somewhere with more of them, if you would like.
No. I agree. This is a good idea. We just need to be aware that we can't. Well, it is out of our way. We need to work out how we're going to get there. This car.
This
This
car's not gonna make it.
That and the fact that there's already 6 of us crammed in this thing and it's probably only built for 4. And there's a nuke in the back.
Yes, that is. We're gonna.
my back and his leg. It's going to be you four carrying it.
Works for me.
7
I can limp
miles.
pretty fast. I mean, I've had to. I've got a plan for the car when we ditch it. Got something brewing. we can get to your place in one piece as a start, see if we can find a way down to the underground. I know that area pretty well.
Well, shall we see how far this car gets us then?
Yeah. Who's driving? Question.
No one.
If it's an automatic, I'm happy to be driving.
It's discreet now.
I'll drive.
Everyone's in the back.
We're actually riding on the back of a Zamboni right now.
Sick.
Grinding up the highway.
I'll be the driver. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you continue on for what you assume is a couple of hours. And then, Lucy, since you are driving, you notice it first because you got your eyes on the road. It started by being sort of a body like hurled over the sort of the shoulder of the road. But bodies, you've seen them in great number. You know, they don't really pick your attention anymore. They start to when they are quite constant, and when they start kind of having different sort of they are sort of bent in different ways, and also it is hard to tell because you're having a quick glance in the speed of the car. But if these are you don't know about anyone, at least in your group and your outpost, that has made their way through this road in maybe 5-6 years. These bodies seem to be fresh-ish, and it comes to a point where you can see them actually laid out from the distance with your headlights. You can see that they are sort of laid out on the road. You can sort of avoid them taking different paths, but yeah, you do notice there are some bodies just sort of placed on the road that you're on. But yeah, whatever you want to do with that information is up to you.
Just at like the sheer amount of bodies that are just piled up along the roadside, Lucy begins to like drive like considerably slower. Just it's morbid curiosity. It's like she doesn't want to like look at them, but she can't take her eyes off of just the amount of death that surrounds this vehicle. The rest of you notice like just come to like almost just a roll. As
What are we slowing down for?
You want to pick up the pace there?
Sorry. Fucking everything in it.
What? I can't. My eyes aren't what they used to be. I can't. What is it?
Can you not see the amount of bodies?
Bit dark. Those shapes, are they bodies, you're saying?
Yes.
Here. It's odd.
There should be skeletons by now.
I agree.
Keep going.
Yeah.
They'll know we're here by now.
Picks up the pace and keeps going.
You keep on going, and eventually you veer sort of not off-road, but suddenly like you're kind of on a highway, and you just head off to see to follow the indication that Dennis gave you, and eventually try to find the subway entrance. If you're driving, can you please roll me a conflict roll?
Indeed.
As you start making your way towards the subway.
2 6s, no 1s.
Great. Describe the rest of the journey.
The trip is unnerving. Like keep a pretty stable pace throughout, but just like it's just shit. Just the surroundings is just not good. Bodies keep on being just there. The car is it just about manages to get us there. We may have to walk a bit, but otherwise we're there.
Yeah. The car, you feel it because you're driving it, and you feel that it is giving out. So you sort of stop just before you arrive. Just try to. Where do you park?
Just anywhere.
Stop middle of the street and then get out of the car.
Yeah.
Plan for the car. You had a plan for the car, you said?
Yeah, I think as we're driving, because obviously we've been in the car for long enough, we're talking about all sorts of stuff, and I was hoping the car would last and have enough petrol to basically drive it down this section of hill into part of the town where I'd been slowly building up this massive gasoline gunpowder and just create a big explosion. But as the car is giving out, I can see that plan is maybe not, that version of the plan might not work. So I articulate that as we pull in, it's like, oh, I thought this was going to get us there.
You want to blow the van up to cause a distraction?
I want to drive it into, and I won't take your map, but I'll point, say, just here in this intersection, that building there, it's an old 4-story building, but it's right in the middle of, it's like this really important place where I used to know. That is ready to go. I never had the chance to blow it or the time to do that, but if we could drive something into it.
We used to have a trick. You put a brick on the
Brick on the gas pedal.
gas pedal.
Mm-hmm. It's a simple old one, but
Put a rag in the petrol, and then
I think
set
we've
it down
been-
in that building.
I think we've seen a few of the same films.
Would you like to have a look at the car and see if you can check if the plan would work potentially?
Yeah, I mean, if we're about to pull in,
Yeah.
I would sort of try and direct us to maybe where there's some other cars parked around. So if it's like, it might be spark plugs, it might be gas, it might be a relatively simple fix just to get it to do the last thing when we ditch the car, we can then send it off and go and do our thing.
Roll me a conflict roll to see how successful you might be in this.
Any sixes?
No 6s and 3 1s.
You can use.
Remember that you
your,
can use whatever trait you have at the top.
Yeah,
You can use it to re-roll the ones and hopefully get a 6.
yeah, I'll
What-
do that
what is it?
because that is.
What is
also
it that you have?
mine. So my vice is my gammy leg. So
How would your gammy leg sort of work into the
Um,
situation?
I think because I've had it so long, it's been a source of. It's made me really surly and really difficult around people, really resentful. But it's also made me more resolute, like I just soldier through stuff. So it's almost turning what has been, what I felt was the most negative part of my life. It's given me that strength, and I think maybe in that moment, that's like, no, I see things through,
Cool.
and I pull myself up and I just start looking at other cars, and I'm just doing it. I'm just getting it done, and I'm not listening.
Yeah. Please
So I just roll
tear your vice first, and
First tear.
re-roll your ones.
that was a one.
Yeah, I think it was 3
Please
dice.
just roll
Yeah,
those, yeah.
so re-roll those 3.
Nope.
No sixes.
There's no ones anymore though, so we
no
keep.
ones.
But no sixes, so
The
scene
pool will
ends.
will
right,
refresh
okay.
anyway. So
Yeah. So
Oh.
we kind of cut away with you looking over these things. You have a moment at the top.
My moment is now at the top.
Would you please grab a candle and darken it, please? Between scenes in 10 Candles, there is a moment called Establishing Truths, in which we will go over certain truths about the world, about the situation that you find yourselves in. It's a moment to establish moments of the story, and also to move the narrative as forward as we'd like, or to keep it sort of in the same place. We are going to start with the player who's darkened the candle. So in the moments where we establish the truths, we say, these things are true, the world is dark. And we're going to go around the table, for 9 people, including myself. We always establish truths, the same number of candles that are lit up. So, these things are true, the world is dark.
There, with all the death, there are more resources than we need at the minute.
Despite the number of them in our way, the square at the center of the city is shockingly clear.
The subway is just as bad as out here.
The bodies are a message, but we don't speak that language.
They are utterly unknowable.
What do you mean?
Their intentions are utterly unknowable.
You can push the car to the location that Carl indicated, but it is a detour.
Although we have travelled for hours in the subway, we are lost, and they know we are here.
They are somehow our fault.
Spicy.
The last one I know. We all know that for the last person left, there is a way to immediately detonate the device.
At the end of our establishing truths, we all say, and we are alive.
And we are alive.
We are alive.
So you have been at the subway for a couple of hours now. You have struggled to find a car or train that works, and that has led you to sort of follow along and eventually get lost within the various subway lines. You currently find yourselves in the many meters, in one of the many meters of tunnel that doesn't have a platform. And you have been consulting your maps, but something is going on that you can't really work out where you are. So you don't know. You see no lights in front of you, behind you. All you know is that you're in the tunnel. You're kind of feeling your way through, and you don't know which platform might be next. You don't know which platform came before, and you don't know if there's a train anywhere here. You are carrying this heavy footlocker still with you, but it is, yeah, it is draining. So, what would you like to do in this moment?
I think Reginald would be banging his stick against the rails and trying to use that to hear if there's a carriage or train, because it would make a different kind of sound if their tracks were empty.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, go ahead and roll me 9 dice this time, because only 9 candles remain. And I get to roll 1.
2 6s and 2 1s. I will keep that.
Cool. So remove 2 dice from the pool, and you've rolled more 6s than I did, so what'd you find? What'd you hear?
As we are kind of moving along and I'm banging this, we come to intersection, and I bang one side and it's clearly nothing there. Bang the other side and it's a much duller, deeper tone. There is a train this way.
Oh, thank God.
Must be. And as we move forward, we bump into it pretty much. But there is a passenger train stuck in this tunnel, or in this tunnel.
Cool. Yeah, you approach the passenger train, and as you are kind of looking around and you're trying to look over, trying to find a way in, the windows on this train are foggy, as if the temperature outside of the train is much cooler than it is inside. Sort of like that winter window design. And you, yeah, as you approach, this is kind of the only thing you can really tell with the reflection of your lights, whatever it is, from your phones that are still, nothing else works, but your phone at least is a source of light. And yeah, and you do see that they are completely foggy. So it's very difficult, nigh impossible to see what it is inside, if anything is inside. Yeah, difficult to tell. What would you like to do with this information?
I think Carl is contemplating whether there's actually people inside, and it's their body heat and condensation. So the idea of taking this train, there might be people hiding in there, and that's not going to be. So that's what he's contemplating at the moment. Maybe kind of looking up towards the windows and seeing if he can.
Yeah, like wipe the condensation.
Condensation will be on the wrong side of the
Mhm.
glass.
Yeah,
So
as you're looking in, can I ask you to do a conflict roll to check what you see?
yes, 1 6 and no ones.
Nice. Go ahead. What do you see?
So I think I see maybe. I just very faintly see a candle. It's burning way down. I can't actually see any people, but there's a lit candle inside. So maybe literally the middle carriage of, say there's 5 carriages on this thing, and the middle one is more condensation. There's just a light, and I'll say to the others, I think there might be someone in here. It doesn't look like there's lots.
Yeah.
And he will sort of go up, sort of limp up close to the door and just hello, and just try and slightly pull back the door one end of the carriage,
Without,
unless anyone stops me.
I didn't know that you were about to open the door, as Dennis didn't. And he, as you go to kind of do this, he will. What are you doing?
There's only one way to find out what's in there.
We don't need to know,
It could be helpful.
and it could not be.
Don't forget as well that this is a train and it's the fastest way through the subway.
We need this.
I think majority agrees it's worth the risk.
And if we can
We need
uncut
to
them,
get to the engine car. There's no good in here.
Reginald is going
Yeah.
to take his stick and bang on the door. Light! Light! Doesn't care about your ranting.
As you bang your stick against the train, you hear scuttling, very faintly, maybe like 3 or 4 carriages down. You just hear a
I guess somebody didn't want their ticket punched.
We need to get to the engine car at the front. We're doing no good by giving away more of our position and trying to talk to these people that are going to be atomic soup by the time we're finished.
I just didn't want to pull them to their death, but let's try and unhook the front carriage quietly.
And there's also less that can go wrong if we have a problem with the train.
Don't think there's anyone in here.
Reg, look around you. Mad.
anyone here? You hear it coming from down the tunnel.
Well, now we've done it.
I will edge closer.
In the direction of the sound.
Sorry, if you say that again, I didn't hear.
I will edge closer towards the sound in order to put myself between it and the others.
You start moving, and it was like a one burst of sound, so you can't hear anything else now. You kind of try to listen for it, but just be quiet again.
You all heard that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, be on your guard. They know we're here.
They?
Yes.
You think that was they? Or you think it was humans on the train?
I think it was bad.
That is a fair assumption.
It's better not to risk things.
Let's move the nuke away from the noise.
Sure as that life is not noise sensitive.
And I will, like, with whoever else is carrying this thing, I'll be sort of
Yeah.
trying to move, at least move this away
I'll be one of the
towards the front.
Okay, I think the door will- I think Dennis is going to start to make his way. So we heard a noise. Did it come from generally down the tunnel or down one side?
Down the tunnel.
Oh, okay. So I can't just go the other side and avoid it. I think he's going to try and walk down the tunnel,
I will follow.
trying to be as not cautious, not cautious, not like walking with a swagger and like, but like he's wary, waiting for on his guard, and he's going to try and make his way down to the engine car
Okay.
at the front.
Yeah, you make your way towards the front, ears out, try to listen to anything, but apart from your footsteps and the soft clanking of the big foot locker and nuke inside it, this place is pretty much dead. But eventually, yes, you arrive at the front of the train where the engine room is, and from here you'd have to go inside to try to work it out, make it work, or go back, detach the train, whatever you said the plan was. So, but you find yourself in the front, next to the engine room.
Okay. Is there? There's less. But there's windows on this? Are those also condensated in some small way, or? Clint's with me. The others are kind of tentatively back. If we're going to detach it, we need to do it now, and we need to do it fast.
Usually they have a lever for this kind of thing, but I don't see one.
I'm not a train guy.
I could attempt to shoot it off.
That sounds...
You see an empty holster. I place my hand in the shape of a gun in the holster. Dead serious.
Okay. Well, it looks like there's only one way. And he will reach up to the engine car door. I mean, it's a subway, not yeah, it's a subway train, so it's not like, you know, it's like here. It's not like one of those old steam trains where and he will reach up to the door and he will attempt to open it and look inside.
Roll me a conflict roll, please.
7 die.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A6 and a 1. Thank God. So what do I see?
What happens? Yeah.
I open up and I see, I am relieved to see not much. There is a handful of bits of tat around, old signs that maybe someone has tried living in here. But I don't see anyone. I open the door and see, you know, a tin of tuna that's been picked clean and some blankets and all of these things. I go to touch some of the things to see if they're warm, to maybe tell me if something's been here, and then I don't, preferring not to know. And I will step up to the kind of the cobwebbed, slightly mess of controls at the front of this train, where I will look to see in what kind of state it's in. You know, I assume that trains go forward and backwards. You know, there isn't a great deal to do with turning. But I test various buttons and if there's a, you know, check in the thing to see if there's a key in there. I don't know how much liberty I'm allowed to go with.
If you want to check if there's a key, you're going to have to roll again.
I'm going to check if there's a key.
Great.
Why would a subway train have sun visor?
Because I willed it into existence.
Good answer.
And some of them do go above.
There are no 6s nor any 1s.
That is a failed conflict then.
And I can't use my thing if there's no 1s, can I?
Just reroll ones, yeah, I'm afraid.
Wow, Nick.
So, yes. With that, grab a candle, darken it, and let's remove a dice. Let's refill to 8. And let's establish some truths. These things are true. The world is dark.
Okay, this way. They act differently when they think we aren't looking.
As you spend time on this train, when you look at the windows, or out the windows, only see your reflection, but you also see the shape on the window, almost like your face was pressed into it.
Oh, good. This train is functional, and we can get it moving.
There are pockets of resistance between us and our goal. Don't know where they are, but there would be a logic to it. Something we're capable of working out.
Regardless of what happens, when we reach our destination, and once we're done with the task, this nuke will no longer be in one piece.
Found a pistol with 6 rounds in it.
There are helpful supplies among what were passengers on this train.
Members of the resistance that we find can't be trusted.
Wasn't me that said that. And we are alive.
And we are alive.
For now.
Miraculously.
No one established that the train was moving, so we're going to pick up with you trying to find the keys, and because it was a failed roll, I'm going to deem it that you didn't in fact find any keys. So how does that develop once you discover that?
So I look over the various bits and pieces. I'm looking for like keys or something that might just get the whole thing working. But no such luck. At this point, I kind of I will see Clint is either in the car with me or just down, and I'm going to look to him with something just like, I don't do trains. How are the others? What are they up to? Do you think?
Well, as far as the train goes, usually there's a thing you push to go forward and a thing you push to slow down.
I put my hand on a big lever and just go.
I guess. I suppose turning it on first would be a pressing matter. I see. I'll call the others into the car.
Lucy and whoever else. You're holding the warheaders, right? As well. You're holding the warhead as well with.
Yeah, I was
We're
basically.
both holding it, I think.
Yeah.
So the 3 of us.
Clint would be kind of like pottering between the two groups, kind of wandering up the side of the tracks and like poking stuff with his stick and trying to look through the windows and see if he can see any kind of bodies or anything that might be useful, because they've gone up on the train and working, and these guys are just standing with a nuke for no reason.
We're moving up the.
I'll definitely have been saying to you that no matter what happens, we set this off.
Yeah.
That it's better that the nuke gets set off, period,
Yeah.
than not at all. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I've turned to you and I think I'm just saying basically, like, if I think that this is turning in a way that's not going in our favour, I'm not going to hesitate.
Yeah.
I think obviously we're wandering up to the rail car. I'd like to put the nuke down and step into the engine car and join the others and perhaps investigate and see if we can see what's going on.
I wanted to do the same as well. I guess we got to get the nuke in first, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's enough of you to kind of carry it up. What are you investigating specifically? Trying to figure out.
I think as a first thing, is checking to see what the problem is. I mean, obviously, Dennis went to check if there were keys, which I think would be logical for anyone searching if you were used to driving a car. But just because he couldn't find keys doesn't mean that the train requires keys to turn them on. So my thought is check and see if there are other buttons, controls, that kind of thing, you know, something that would
Go ahead.
otherwise get us moving. We have 3 6s and no 1s.
Amazing.
Nice.
Fantastic.
So,
So I step up into the train car, and as I'm looking around, I think obviously, you know, I give Dennis a pat on the back and kind of ask what's been going on. I didn't mean to spit you, sorry. And I notice, you know, I'm not a train expert, but like obviously there are a lot of dials and levers and things like that, and I can see that despite the fact that obviously the lights have been out for a long time, the city's been fairly derelict. There is a gauge on the train which shows that there is still power coming to the train. So that is obviously, as we established, that the train can still move. It's an electric locomotive, so one would hope we can get it moving. There are a couple of big buttons on there for, like, there's an emergency stop, and you can tell that the last time it was used, the emergency stop was slammed down. And you can kind of tell that on the side, in very, very subtle text, which was very easy for Dennis to miss, that there was like a twist to release. And when you twist to release it, it basically, some of the lights start coming on the dashboard, and then the kind of start switch kind of lights up, and then we can flick that. So I flick that, and the lights come on the train one by one. But as I do that, and it starts to light up around us, the lamps come on at the front, and the darkness in front of us is not entirely empty.
yeah, as soon as you there's noises and kind of like buttons that light up suddenly, and you're a little bit blinded all of a sudden that all of these lights just started shining in your face, and then the big headlights just illuminate the tunnel, and it goes for about, I want to say 30-40 feet, and then you again kind of curves to the right, and as the lights come up, you do immediately see someone on the tracks that like immediately covers their face, and it's very hard to kind of see any distinguishing features. Seems to be an individual, kind of grizzled, salt and pepper hair, kind of buzz cut, and maybe about 5'11", 5'10", normal street clothing, just with like covering their face as the light just impacts them, and you just hear, "Hi, you got it working then?"
After getting the warhead onto one of the carriages, Lucy, being incredibly wary of what's going on, immediately draws the pistol she found on the side of the tracks, and is like holding it at the purse. He's like, "Who goes there?"
Well, I'm William. Who are you?
Lucy, why are you on the tracks?
Well, I live on the train. My light's on and everything. Who are you? What are you doing here?
This city is a hotspot for them. Why do you live here? How have you lived here?
That's only down in the center. It's just the outskirts here. Where else am I gonna go?
Reginald will be slowly moving towards her, like not looking threatening at all. He's an old man with a stick, just moving steadily towards her.
Yeah, and they keep like covering. Oh God, are you gonna take the train somewhere?
That is the plan, yeah.
That is the intention, yes.
Oh,
We can leave the carriages for you if you need somewhere to live, but we gotta take the train.
You can join us. Extra hands is
He needs
always
to go the other
appreciated.
way.
I'm not going down the tunnel. If you could leave the carriage, that'd be great.
At this point, Reginald will take the kind of pick his stick up by the base of it and just be like, "You one of them?" Nudging her. with
Ow,
it.
ow, no, I can't. Let me just.
Reg, leave the man alone.
He's not an
Are you
alien.
sure it's not one of them?
He's not an
I'm-
alien.
I'm pretty positive.
Ow.
Put the stick down.
Alright then. What? You got any food?
Some cans of tuna down the carriage, but that's for me.
Yeah, I don't like tuna.
Why are you taking the train? What are you gonna do?
Don't tell him anything.
We
We
need to
have
get in the city.
we have a place to be. This is the fastest way there.
Oh. Well, all right. Well, have you detached the train yet?
No, but we can do.
Can you tell us how to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I can help. Let me just and kind of like starts walking. Can I move towards you? I've got guns and.
I'd like to keep a close eye on him, but yeah, you can come
I'll
up.
Put the gun away. Currently unarmed.
Right.
Reg is following closely.
This individual kind of moves and like leaves the light and enters the shadow and starts walking to the back of the train, followed closely by Reginald. Seems to be mumbling something to themselves, but I mean, probably the effect of spending 10 years down a tunnel.
Reg probably doesn't hear it.
Reg
Drowned
thinks
out-
that he's
drowned
been
out by
moving
his
in
own
stealth
mumbling.
this entire
Yeah,
time.
oh absolutely.
He's been like clunking around and been
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you," like that, and he thinks he's been whispering.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm going to need after a little while, you hear some like clinking. You can't really see what they're doing, but eventually you hear the voice saying, looking at you, you look quite like trying to like feel your shoulders and arms. You look quite skinny. Someone with a good, strong pair of hands.
What are
do
you
need?
saying?
I could help.
What do you need?
I just need to actually lift the lever to detach it.
Yeah. Go to help.
Roll a conflict roll, please.
40 years in a factory and I can't lift a bloody thing.
3 6s, 2 1s.
Great. Please take the 2 1s out and take 2 dice off
Mhm.
that one. That's what
Yeah, I
please.
think I'll save my virtue.
We did well
What
there.
I'd say for something that's been like stationary for X amount of years, probably before 10, it's definitely hard to get out. Like it's like rusted or whatever. But like with strength is just about like shimmy it up. It does take a minute, and hands are definitely hurting afterwards, but the train does get disconnected in the end.
Yeah, you do hear the kind of sound of the train disconnecting itself. Kind of like, do you have a flashlight on you? I would assume so. Yeah.
I've got my phone.
Yeah, so you're kind of like holding it. And then as you kind of disconnect it, this person kind of turns to Reginald and say, well, it's all done now, so have a safe journey.
Yeah, try not to die.
Are you with the resistance folk?
Keep myself to myself, really.
You seen any about?
Not really. I haven't seen many of the resistance down this tunnel for a while.
I'm still not sure they're not one of them.
How did you survive down here?
Just keep the light on.
What light?
My candles. They don't like the light.
You got a spare lighter?
You got anything to give back to me? It's my only source of light.
How about a wallet?
Got 20 English pounds.
No use, is it? Can't pay them off.
People used to appreciate money.
You asthmatic? And have been craving a hit.
Royal conflict.
I can give you my lucky amulet.
Do you want some headphones? Don't have to work them, my granddaughter gave them to me.
No. It's I'll keep my lighter. You go and do whatever it is that you're doing in the center.
You could do with a lighter.
What need do we have for light? We have enough light in the carriage anyway. I'm sure we have other means of
We're
setting
not going to
things
be
on
in
fire.
the carriage. We only have one fire to light. What if a problem arises?
I have a gun.
The ultimate answer. Rock, paper, scissors, gun.
He's definitely scared of guns.
Are you going to stick him up, or do you want me to do it?
I'm not. I've already held my
Pet.
gun up on him
Look,
once. I'm not
if-
going to do it again.
If he's one of them, then
I've got plenty of pens. Most of them don't work.
Please work.
I don't think that we should be sticking up someone who, for all we know, could be human, and
Let-
is certainly not been outed as one of them at the moment.
Yeah, she.
We are on what I would hope is the good side.
She unloads the magazines. Like, I've only got 6 bullets. I've got to make things count.
He only needs
I
one.
think they're talking about shooting.
am
you,
not
So how about you give me
I
the
wasn't
lighter
intending
and I
to
convince
shoot
them
them.
not to shoot you?
I don't care. I don't want to waste my bullets.
Why don't you just leave?
We are going to.
And
I don't know what these guys are doing.
We've spent too long here. We need to, as they say, shit or get off the pot. We either leave now, or we stick him up, and then leave now.
We just leave now. Thank you. And walk to the carriage.
You're welcome.
Are we though?
This person starts turning around and going back to the carriage where they were going.
I, you know, with a side eye, I'll get up into the main carriage. We know how it works. Well, at least we know it works.
So I'm guessing at this stage we are all up here and we've loaded the nuke on and we're ready to move.
We're all up in the train, the engine car.
Yeah.
Cool. Shut the door and go. You do realise that guy's going to be vaporised when we nuke it. So like morals don't really matter. We either have a lighter now or we don't have one later.
Well, we don't have a lighter now, alright?
Cool. Well,
Thank
ask
you.
his Ash.
Carl just accelerates the train.
Lighters aren't going to matter.
We don't know that.
Carl, can you please roll me a conflict roll for the turning on the car? Yeah, roll me a conflict roll for the accelerating.
Yep. There's a 6, but there are 2 1s.
Great.
Two
So
ones, we're down to 6
what
out of
do we see and hear when you press the accelerator?
So listening to everyone talking and just all this bullshit, all this noise, all this, like, I think he's getting a bit of affinity with Carlton. And like, we just got to get this done. Let's just get this done. So while they're all like, do this, and just going and sort of throws everyone back, and he doesn't go full speed. He sort of moves the train, but at a kind of mid-pace, just in case there's something wrong with the tracks. And as he's heading down there, he sees signs of people have been living there. There are little kind of almost inspection areas where there's like a bit off to the side, and abandoned platforms, and it's not just tunnel. There are bits and pieces even this far out of the city itself. Doesn't see any more signs of life, I don't think. But starts coming to areas where there is faltering light. There's a bit of power. Looks like as they're getting closer in, there are these little pools of slightly more habitable areas. But certainly for the next period of time, he doesn't see any people. But he sees evidence of survivors and so forth. And
Seems to be that when what happened, people kind of flooded to the tunnels to try and just escape them, and so you do see tents, mattresses, makeshift tables, and all that stuff that is just placed in here. I'm going to say that every time you see sort of this small pool of light of these lights that are still somehow working, you get the tricks of the light and the pressure of the situation you find yourselves in, especially knowing that this is your last mission. Maybe your mind plays tricks on you, but you start seeing sort of reflections of people you've known in the past, former teammates, former workers. And you just, the train goes too fast to kind of actually realize that, but like in your subconscious, you kind of get this familiarity with the situation somehow. But yes, the train continues down the track, pretty uneventful apart from these pools of light and signs of life. And and for about half an hour or so, that is all you see. Is there anything else that you would like to do whilst you're on the train?
While we're on the train, I'd like to have a brief conversation. I think for the first time now we're alone in a situation where we feel like we can probably be safe enough to discuss it. But obviously, I think we all know that we're not coming back from this one. As I said in the car, I think this is the last ride for all of us. The question that I have is, when we get to the square, when we get to the center where we know we're going to set this off, do we set it off underground or do we set it off overground?
When it goes off, it's going to cause a lot of light. I think those in the resistance and anyone else would like to see the world lit up again.
Not to mention, if we contain it below, it's not going to reach the stars.
The effects will also be less if we set it off underground, so it only makes sense that we get it up there. Now, I think the maps that we were looking at, obviously the train runs to roughly where we need to be, but there's still going to be some trekking, probably overground, before we actually get it there.
Yeah.
So I think we have to make a decision about how we do that, how we stay unnoticed, or whether we want to just try and light ourselves up as much as we can to try and keep them away from us. I don't know.
They're scared of light. I want to take as many of these fuckers out as we can.
I'm with you on that.
They know we're here. We can't possibly know what they're thinking.
Have any of us actually seen them? I've not seen them.
My eyesight's shot.
I can't say I have.
I was in an ice rink for 5 years. Just
Be a bit cold.
scratching out a living as everything went to shit. I don't even know what they look like.
I don't think anyone does.
Anyone who's seen them ain't come back. They got. You put the light up to see them and they run away. Cowards, a lot of them.
I've seen them.
You have?
Yeah, but you're mad, aren't you? Look what you're wearing. You stink as well.
Yeah, but Reggie, let's be real. If we're all willing to go on this mission, every one of us is mad in some way.
Yeah, but a different kind of mad to that.
What did you see, Dennis? What do you know about them? Or what do you think you know?
I don't know anything about them. But they act different when they think you can't see them. They wanna, I don't know, it's like they wanna live inside us. Like a disease.
Mad.
Sounds like people. Everyone acts different when they think you can't see it.
Sounds like the lights went out, and so did yours. Shall we speak to people who actually have a basis in reality?
We're a team, Reg.
Yeah.
Between us, in some weird way, we've got the capability of sorting this mission out.
Don't get me wrong, his map was very useful, but we've got to. Does it really matter what they look like or what they're doing? We've just got to get this to the centre and then press, I'm assuming, a big red button.
Suddenly, as you're having this conversation, all of you are lodged forward.
Oh, me.
As though the train has stopped.
The fuck?
The train, yeah, you all like impact shoulders, heads, nothing too severe, but definitely a bruise there as suddenly you know, like the train had the brakes on.
Ow. What the fuck?
And as you kind of try to get a hold of the situation, Carlton, your hand is on the brake button.
Why did you do that?
I didn't. I must have fallen on it when the train stopped.
Yeah, but the train stopped. That doesn't add up. Why did you stop the train?
Well, I wouldn't do it deliberately. I want to get where we're going.
Then why did you press the button?
Has he been out? Has there been any point where we haven't been looking at it?
Been with him most of the time with the bomb.
Not since before the car.
Look. Do you press that button on purpose?
Absolutely not.
On press it. Reset it.
Roll me a conflict roll.
It's stuck. Oh.
If I don't roll a 6,
It's all
I'm gonna
kicking off
shit a brick.
now.
A 6 and a 1.
Thank
Right.
God.
Go ahead.
Um,
Down to 3.
So, I reset the brakes, and you know, I think I make it pretty clear, you know, like, look, I've not done this deliberately, right? You know, I mean, I think probably the canon in my mind is that you know, something must have happened. We must have been jolted or something. Must have nudged it, and that's obviously how it looks. But that's obviously what I'm thinking. I set us going again. push the accelerator forward and get the train moving. But we're only a few minutes away from the last stop before there's no further way forward. Obviously, we know that there's still a trek to be had, but we do end up getting there. And as we pull up in the train, and this time put on the brakes intentionally, you can hear a whispering sound.
The train stops a bit more smoothly this time as you actually decrease the speed before putting on the brakes, and you even from within the train carriage you can hear this just whispering noise. You were lost for a couple of hours, so you have no actual idea of where you are currently within the maps from Dennis. But you know that you have arrived at a stop with the sort of platforms and brakes at the front, so must be the end of the line, whichever line this is. So yeah.
Can Reg hear these sounds even though he's slightly deaf?
Roll me a conflict roll for that.
Reg!
3 dice.
Everything's possible.
I'm gonna burn my vice.
Is there a
Which is
1?
There's a single one in
critical.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up, you fools, and let me listen. Shh. Stop rustling, you idiot. Shh. No.
Tear your rice up. And darken a candle, please. And remove refresh the dice pool, but keep 3 dice out, please.
7 dice.
These things are true. The world is dark.
They have found us.
The beacon that I wanted to set is one of dozens around the city. And the resistance knows we're screwed. And Carl knows we're screwed. He still wants to set that fire.
Dennis has, within his collection of many items, one thing that will prove that he has seen them.
Nice, very nice.
This station used to be an outpost, but has since been overrun.
I am losing my grip on my sanity.
The resistance is near.
you have hurled out of the train station, and you find yourselves atop, in kind of the station entrance, atop a hill where you know there's a bonfire nearby. And we are alive.
We are alive.
So yes, hearing the whispering and having a pretty sure idea that they are close, you left the station and you find yourselves kind of on top of one of the hills that form this this metropolis, and you know that you are about maybe 1 kilometer, maybe less, let's say a mile, maybe less, than one of the beacons that you know can light them up and can, at the very least, distract you, or distract them, and buy you some time. You also know that once you light them up, it's game on. So, yes. What would you like to do?
I will say that to the group. And I will confess that this is the end. This isn't just the end, like this mission be the end of us. This is it. And he will explain his links to the resistance. He was in a position to help them. And over there, it's one of these beacons, and once one gets lit, they all get lit. And once they all get lit, the clock's ticking. So it might not be something we can do, but if you see one of the beacons go up, we have got to go as fast as we can. But the time for sneaking will be over, so so as we get to this station, knowing where we are geographically, it's like time to steel ourselves for beginning the final push to get this done. And if there's anything anyone wants to say or do or articulate, now's the time, because we've got to start moving.
I think it's time to show them what we're made of.
My granddaughter said, like, I've put these in, and on my phone, I have Tiger. She did it, and I'll pass you my phone and ask you to play Eye of the Tiger, and I'll get my walking stick, and like as we're going now, I'll Eye of the Tiger on repeat, and I'm just ready with my stick.
So I think if it comes to it, Reg might be able to light the bonfire while we. So he's part of this mission. Moment of glory. Show him what you're made of.
He
So
can't hear you. He's got headphones.
when I said we needed a lighter,
Yeah, if only we'd have. Well, at least our consciences will be clear when he's atomized.
The resistance will have something in the area. They're not going to build these things and have no
No
possibility
way of
of
lighting
lighting
them.
it.
Yeah, you wanna have somewhere you can light that kind of beacon, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually a flare.
So what's our next step?
Just find a car or some way of getting this. Boot the thing. This
Yeah, and
piece of crap.
I guess, yeah, look around for a car or something that is able to help transport us.
Conflict roll, please.
Thank you for saying what I said, and therefore you do. Roll
I don't
instead of
mind.
me.
I don't mind. Yes, although It is all 6s and 1s.
Amazing.
4 6s, 3 1s. I think I want to try and use generous. I think like just offering up my services, helping look around for a car, or like something to help the others, is just a good way to help, basically.
Great.
Just being the helping hand.
Go ahead.
Roll the ones.
Yeah, reroll the ones.
I don't think that's ever happened before. All 6s and 1s. Another 6 and 2 5s, so no losses.
Amazing. What happens?
5 6s, that's insane. Yeah, we find like a proper pickup with something that we can actually just shove it on the back.
Find
of it.
literally the pussy wagon from Kill Bill.
Yeah, like a proper thing. Unfortunately, there's only like 3 seats in the front, so some of us will have to stay on the back. But at least we have transport. Like looking around, give it the once over. They left the keys in the car. They just fucked off, abandoned it.
You found the car.
Found the car.
That is
Whether
what
those
you're
keys are
looking
in it
for.
or not. I like to think there's keys.
Your generous nature makes you think that.
Yeah.
If it was
Someone's
you,
generously left this car just lying around.
Yeah.
You're generous.
But yeah, there is a car that we can use, and it doesn't look too shabby. Rip this.
Yes, you used it. You load the you load the nuke onto the back of the pickup. Seems lock and loaded.
I, kind of. I reach up to the sun visor. I'm going to check if there's keys in there.
Roll conflict roll, please.
A6, no ones.
Great.
And then into my lap fall the keys. Silver keys, unadorned, simple things. And they have a small, looks like it's been made out of some kind of felt. It's in the shape of a small cat's head made by a child. It looks like some kind of adornment on this key. And I rip it off, put it in one of my pockets. And then, we ready?
Yeah, slap the back. Put it in the back.
Yeah, apparently I'm driving.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a scooter license.
I'm going to ask you for another conflict roll to turn the car. I have 2 6s.
So I've got to get.
You have to beat 2 6s, yeah. Meter beater, so if you roll 2, you get narrative rights.
It's not even any ones. No sixes, no ones.
Oh wow.
Which I really want to use one of these. If I just don't roll ones.
You, to close out the scene, you turn the ignition on, and you hear. And as you hear that, as that happens, there's like a flickering of light of the headlights. And there's just enough flicker for you to see that in this area that you are in, where there are other cars kind of stationed and at the edge of the road, from inside of those cars, there are heads that pop and look at you. Can you darken out the candle, please? And refill up to 6 dice, please.
We're in the end game now.
We didn't even have to refill, just take one out.
That's true. These things are true. The world is dark.
They hate the light. But they can stand it.
the other car's doors open suddenly.
In this next scene, Reginald is going to be pulled off the truck by them.
Most of the people who are still alive are either in the resistance or religiously fanatic. And we've been very lucky so far to meet one fairly normal person in a train.
Every step further that we take to the center of the city now, the streets, the ground, the subway, everywhere is now adorned with skeletons of people that did not survive.
What if there were like even like flickering of street lights, like to just project tiny bits of light onto the floor? That is no more.
And we are alive.
And we are alive.
As soon as the car doors open, you see women and children kind of almost like dropping out of the cars, like looking towards this one car that made a noise and emitted some light. And they say, "A way out, a way out," and you just hear like dozens of different voices shouting, "A way out, a way out, a way out," as they all start, like, some of them crawling, dragging themselves along the asphalt, others just standing up and starting making their way towards the car. What would you like to do?
It just like reactionary, not even like thinking, just pull gun on.
Me too. I could be.
I have a genuine gun.
I try
Me too.
Roll me a conflict roll.
I get out and try and start to push and
push it
start-
forward to roll it over.
Yeah, do like rolling
forgot one.
start.
Yes, it's a 6.
Any ones?
No one's. I as these whatever they are walk towards us and start to stumble, and I'm like, piece of shit, and then I'll just kind of like just and then straight into first gear, and then I floor it, and I just go and hit these people. Just 3 or 4 people immediately are just two are knocked to the side. One is, and there is a sickening wet crunch as we drive over one of these individuals.
I'm literally hanging off the back of the flatbed at this point.
And then these people, instead of coming towards, start to kind of work their way to the side, and I am just flat to the floor, revving it to get straight down this road. And if people get in the way, then they are. Thankfully, we've got a big enough car that we can just crush them.
Cool. The car just keeps going, and eventually you do see that now people are starting to, like, wherever you go, they just start like making their way to, like, over the shoulder of the road and attempting to make their way towards the car. Obviously it's too fast for them to reach, but you keep hearing like, way out, a way out, a way out, and eventually you reach a location where you see this like sort of isolated from everywhere else, but there's like this tall apartment block, and it's just there's some cars parked outside. Most of them seem to be like Humvees. This 10 years, so you definitely notice that this is some sort of was at least at some point a military outpost of some description. And you hit the brakes, car stops, and you are, as far as you're aware, in the location of one of these bonfires that Carl spoke of.
As we stop and these creatures are coming closer to the van, Reg will pull up his stick, still tapping his leg in time to the song, pull off the rubber end of it and fling it out. Standing on this flatbed truck, just waiting for these bastards to come.
As you, Reginald, as you stand there and you look, suddenly, a bit too quickly, you feel something hugging your, like, just above your knee. And as you've established, there's something that just pushes you off the truck. I'm going to ask for a conflict roll. And I'm going to say that this is a dire conflict roll, which means that failing it has very dire consequences. We will if we get there. So roll your conflict. Great. So as you get pushed off this van, or this pickup truck, what do you do?
How does this come into play? If I just
Yes.
I can
You don't know what's pushed you yet. What
Right.
pulled you?
So I am pulled off this truck and I fall heavily to the ground. And the stick goes flying out of my hand. And I can't hear anything because I've now got the most annoying thing in the world playing in my ears. I am scared, I can't really see, and I am flailing around and there is something holding me. And it is terrifying, and I'm just scrabbling around, and I manage just to get my hand on my stick and yank it above, and there is a resistance as the stick like squelches into something that is soft, and this goo just pours out over my face. But deconstriction is gone.
As that happens, and as you kind of impact the blade, all of you see kind of this happening. You suddenly feel kind of, especially you on the wheel, you suddenly feel that the pickup truck suddenly lost a little bit of weight on one side, as if something was unloaded. And as you kind of scramble out to try and look over to see what might have happened, you see that Reginald has stuck his cane, his blade, on the neck of Dennis.
Which one? Me.
As you look down, you see that he has stuck a blade on your neck, but you're sat at the car.
There's still people.
There's still people coming. Yeah.
Okay, I will step out and I will confront them, and to do so, I will reach up and I will pull out my glass eye, and behind there is a black, coiling mass, like something is kind of living behind my eye. and I will look upon them. You will not have us yet.
The Dennis on top of you. There's 3 Dennises now. This is great. On top of you, you felt the grip loosen, and they hear this. They kind of look towards you, and then just try to swipe at your throat. What would you like to do?
Push the thing further in. Push my cane further into them.
Okay. We're now going to get into your moment. So it is a conflict roll. If you succeed, you'll get your hope die. If you do not succeed, the scene will end and we will establish truth. I rolled no 6s.
I rolled no 6s and a 1. So nothing. I can't do that. Can I? Well, rubbish.
You push the blade further in. You can get rid of that. You push the blade further in, and we cut to black. Would you please darken another candle for us?
We're at 5 now.
We are at 5.
Halfway.
Halfway there. How are we feeling?
You say halfway. This is more like we're a quarter of the way from the end now.
Yeah.
As we lose more dice, it's become
yeah.
so much more improbable that
We
we're going
had
to roll
quick.
6s.
A few quick rounds as well.
Yep. It happens.
Yeah, it's really good.
These things are true. The world is dark.
Reginald has lost all hope.
What? Yeah, Carl is just buffering at the moment, but he's starting to believe that some of them might not be some of them. It's not one mass. There are different groups and different intentions. It's more a complicated situation than just they're eating the world.
By the time this next scene ends, we'll be no more than 100 meters away from our final destination.
Our car is giving out.
My old urges are returning.
And we are alive.
And we are alive.
Reginald, as you were about to, you pushed it further in, and then you took it out to go for another swipe. Just as you pulled it out, this Dennis that is on top of you kind of followed the blade, and so kind of fell to the side of you. And by the time that you tried to slash it, it's no longer there. It just scurried away. What would you like to do? There's still, you hear now more people, more voices just making their way towards the vehicle. You've got the big building behind you. What would you like to do?
So Reginald had just slumped there. He pulls the earbuds out and knocks the bat away from him. And it's just sat there.
I will search my stuff for something that might make an awful lot of light.
Roll me a conflict roll, please.
I've got all of there, look.
I have a 6.
So I've got to get 2 6s. Well, there's 1 in there, but there's no other ones. I don't get to use these. I don't roll ones. I haven't rolled a single one, I don't think.
No, I don't think that.
As you look in your bag, one of your bags, you notice that there is old sort of one of those click lighters. I have
I'm thinking one of those lights you give to kids where you.
Oh, the wind-up ones. Yeah.
yeah. So let's say it's that. Yeah, that makes sense. And you kind of just hurriedly try to charge some of the battery, and you make it out some of the battery, so you've got a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm just shining it in the approaching direction, but without a pass, then I'm assuming they're still heading towards us.
Yeah, I mean they kind of avoid, like they get it, and then they kind of cover their face, and then just move off and keep hurling around. Yeah.
Seeing Reg out of the vehicle and whatever crazy stuff's going on with your glass eye business, how far away are we from this tower?
Oh, you're like 50 meters away from the door of the building.
What I would like to do, sorry, the bonfire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Okay. So what Carl would like to do, seeing Reg getting pulled out and seeing whatever's going on with Dennis, is jump out and beeline for this building, because he's got a pretty good idea where the emergency flare will be, and that this is the moment, maybe. And then that is my moment, but I didn't.
Yeah, I'm going to say roll a conflict on your moment. So roll whatever dice you may have.
Just seeing like the group about to fall apart.
I rolled 2 6s.
I rolled one
One
and
6.
2 ones.
2 ones.
2 ones out. Yeah. It is a moment, so you will still get some narrative rights on this because it is your moment, your character's moment. But I'm going to say that you hurl towards the building, and you kind of put the arms out to not completely impact the outside of the wall. But you, as soon as you reach the door, you see a locker, a safe locker, and you kind of open it up, and immediately, like, you see 3 or 4 flares inside, and through the window, just as a very quick glance, you do see that inside there seems to just be barrels of, you are pretty sure are some fluids that will just make a huge bonfire of this entire building. So please describe how you act upon that information.
But this is a failure.
It is a success, however. Yes, it is a success. You do
Oh, it's
succeed.
still, you did.
Yeah, yeah.
You've got at least 1
Yeah.
6.
Oh, okay. So I think what Carl does is he'll grab so there's 4 flares in there, and sort of turn around and see the car in the distance. You know, it's fairly close, and we'll shout, "Get driving! Get the car started again!" And we'll start running around the building and just cracking, and he'll launch 3 into them, and he'll take the last one and he'll run back up to Reg and crack the last one and stand by Reg and try and pull him into the car using it as.
And as you get to Reg, and as you light up the flare, the whole building just lights up in flame. There's a horrible sort of noise of glass shattering, flames just like escaping the building as pressure builds and releases, and suddenly the entire building is up in flames. And Carl, you have gained a hope die that you may use in any of your rolls, and it rolls a success on a 5.
Okay.
And if you roll a 1 with it, you don't lose it. So, as you have found out, you can as well get rid of your hope index card, as you have succeeded. With that noise, it does illuminate a little bit of the area that you find yourselves in, and you do see that these individuals that are making their way towards the car suddenly kind of take a step back and look at the building, and there's almost a sense of there's strange like imagery that you get, that all of them suddenly shift their head towards a certain direction. There isn't any of you. It's sort of like east of where you are, but it's just for a moment, and then they turn back to you, and there's a moment of indecision, but eventually you get the feeling that they will charge back. What would you like to do in this moment?
Just like stand almost in awe of the the fire and flames that are in front of us, and just like shout out those things like, "That's what's going to happen to you. If we're going down, you're coming down with us." And get the fucking car started. Now.
Okay, I'll try and get the car started.
Go for it.
Can I get a 1? Can I please get a 1? I want to use at least one of these.
I know. Happens.
224.
224. As we cut with you trying to turn the engine back on, and you just hear these people starting to make their way forward. Darken a candle for me, please.
I've done that a lot, haven't I?
It happens. It's fine.
These things are true. The world is dark.
Dennis is coming undone.
The van is on the move.
One of their elite is waiting for us.
We are not the only team with a nuke.
Yeah.
And we are alive.
And we are alive.
The truck is hurling down towards what you, Dennis, understand to be the center of town. As you are about like 100 to 200 meters away from the bonfire, you do see that in front of you, on the very other edge of town, another bonfire lights up. Another. There's about 9 of them around town that just light themselves up. And you can sort of work out maybe an equidistance between them that helps with directions to where the center of town is. There is now also as well a lot of noise, not just tires screeching, but also just shouts. And for the first time in a long while for you guys, it does feel like the city is alive again for the first time since the darkness came, as there are people shouting and just running and moving. All of them seem to be coming towards you. But the truck is on the move. What would you like to do?
Let the games begin.
Reg is just sitting there staring at this cacophony with that 1,000-yard stare in his eyes. He's given up. There's a job to be done, he's going to do that job. But the pleasure that he was going to take in it is gone.
Carl from the back of the flatbed next to the nuke moves away from Reg and will move up to the cab and lean around into the window where Dennis is driving and just scream, "What the fuck are you?"
I'm driving. Dennis is driving. and we're in Britain, so you're looking at his right eye, which is an eye, as opposed to whatever was in his left eye socket. And kind of with a maddened, rapturous look, my foot is absolutely flat to the floor, and I am kind of, I am the vanguard of their annihilation, and we will embrace them with open arms. And as I do so, I am swerving to as we bash into people or things and mow them underfoot. Again, just straightforward. Keeping on going.
You eventually, as you're driving, you kind of catch one of these people who doesn't get whiplashed back. So she kind of just like on the hood, as kind of lifts the head towards you, and starts reaching from the hood of the car towards the windshield.
Can I climb over?
We've got two things happening.
What are you doing?
I'm
I'm shooting at them.
From the back
I'm gonna, like peer over the back and shoot them.
towards the engine.
Said it now.
Roll me a conflict roll.
I have said it now.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, a 6.
6 as well. As you look over, shoot, impact the head of this individual, and the body just swirls to the side over the hood of the car. The back wheel crunch as it goes over something. But yeah, you are just driving down. You do hear at this point as well noises of other engines running as you continue to make your way towards the center of town.
Driving fast, crushing heads.
And we're homebound.
Eventually, Dennis, as you are driving, you see from the windshield that there is another car making their way down the town, down the road, and it kind of tries to make its way next to you, and you look over and you just see, sitting on the driver's seat, yourself, as it just turns the wheel towards you, and you just feel an impact on the car.
Is this Mad Max Fury Road or something?
I steer into it.
Great.
I steer into me.
Give me a conflict roll.
Why does that motherfucker look like you?
I got a 6.
I got a 6 and a 1.
Mm-hmm.
Finally got a 1, but I can't use the bloody thing. It goes.
You can re-roll the 1 still.
Even if we win.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
like mitigate the.
Yeah, to get rid of the 1.
Yeah.
Ah, a good point. Okay, well I'll use Hoarder then,
How?
and I need to think about that.
You could grab something from your pocket and lob it through the window.
That's what I'm
at them.
thinking, but I've got to make it cool.
Just have a brick on hand.
Yeah.
I've still got this flare. What's the
Um,
throw it.
I see that I unfortunately the truth I said earlier, I reach into one of my many pockets and I pull a brick out and then I put it down on the gas pedal and I will then try and scrabble and dive into their car, and I will go and wrap my I don't wrap my fingers around my throat. I go to push my thumbs through my own eyes as I kind of am on the side of this van, and I will leap and try and grab my own head and push my thumbs through my own eyes, as there is now no one left in the driver's seat.
That is very true. You jump through as you try to like turn the car, but then just decide to jump through instead and try to gouge the eyes out of
And then
of this individual. Yes, very much so, and re-roll the
4.
so maintain the same number of dice, and eventually this individual lets go of the steering wheel. So currently there are 2 cars on the road with no one steering them.
Reg, seeing what's going on, kind of moves over to the case with the nuke in it, flips the latches open, and what's the word I'm looking for?
Rigs it.
And yeah, gets it ready.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And what is anyone else doing?
Not quite horse riding, but car surfing sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
I will be towards the front of the vehicle.
Okay.
So who's in the cab?
Yeah, who's getting the wheel?
Because there are 3 seats in the cab. Dennis has just jumped out the front and is fighting Dennis in the other car.
I think the canon is us 3 are in the back because I was already
I'm
in the back.
I'm definitely in the. Reg and I were
Yeah,
definitely in
okay.
the back.
So I'm in the passenger seat.
So there were 4 of us in the back.
Yeah,
and 2
because I
people.
smelled bad, apparently.
Well, I don't think that Dennis
I
smells
suppose I
that
also
bad.
did have a weird
I
alien
mean, hey, it's
eye,
the
so-
apocalypse, right? I'm not. I think that probably like the smell of wherever we've been living has been pretty awful. So, yeah. Anyway, I am going to obviously have to lean over to the front and see if I can, at the very least, steer it. If not, shuffle into position and try and take the wheel.
Roll a conflict roll for me, please. I have 2 6s.
I have 1 1 and no 6s, so I am going to burn my thoughtless card.
That sounds
Yeah.
pretty much right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean thoughtless as in I'm just literally like, I'm not even thinking about it, I'm just literally like, okay, I just lean over, grab, and I'm just sliding myself into the seat.
No thoughts,
Sorry.
head empty.
Yeah, no thoughts, head absolutely empty. Come on. A 5.
Oh.
So close.
1 off.
1 off.
Finn, please darken out a candle for us, as the last thing we see is Carlton jumping into the driver's seat.
2 cars not under control.
These things are
The
true.
nuke's in.
The world is dark.
As Carlton slides into the seat but does not successfully take control of the car, we go careening into the square, which is our final destination.
The bomb is rigged for. We have 30 minutes.
The adrenaline from the actions I have taken and actions of others. Breaking barriers I put up a long time ago, but it is sating the urges that are appearing.
Do I get one for
It's 3 left now, so. And we are alive.
We are alive.
The cars make their way into the central square, and they are still in free riding. Like, you can't quite get a grip on the wheel. You're still gouging your own eyes off, as per se. And yeah, the 2 cars just drive in. There is a big statue in the center of this square, and the 2 cars are heading towards it. What's everyone else doing?
Reg's hand is on the plastic cover that stops you pressing the button. But he is ready to, like, if anything stops us from setting this up properly, he's just gonna flick it and press the button. We will succeed.
In an attempt to mirror, I should use the word imitate, my second personality, I don't have any rope for a lasso. This is not a horse. I do, however, have an amulet in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to toss it in the tire.
In the
In
tire.
the hope that it blocks a wheel long enough for it to turn away from the statue.
Roll a conflict roll. It is a dire roll, I'm gonna say. Because if this fails and the car just goes totaled. I have 3 sixes.
Oh.
I have 3 dice.
All sixes.
never
Let's
tell
go.
me the odds.
possible.
There's a chance. Okay. As you throw the amulet, there is a horrible pop sound as one of the wheels just blows up. The pressure, everything was just too much. Dennis, you see the other car that you just leaped from swerve and then carries the momentum on and just completely rolls and gets totaled. Oren, would you please darken a candle for me?
If I can reach.
Pass you one.
Oh my god.
I guess we're leaving the center one for last.
It is where you're going.
Yeah. Well, we're here, just upside down, with a nuke.
There, the outside candles are the signal fires, and the centre one's the...
These things are true. The world is dark.
We have enough time before succumbing to the injuries.
You didn't save. Yeah, I was gonna.
We all died. It's game over, he says.
Thanks for playing 10 Candles.
It's very dire, isn't it? The other Dennis slumps onto the wheel and sends it straight forward, crashing, and Dennis Uno is left rolling on the ground.
And we are alive.
And we are
We are alive somehow.
The truck, if the pickup truck eventually impacted the statue. I'm going to say that Reginald and Carl, definitely Dennis, Clint, and Lucy, everyone that was outside just got spread out from the truck. Carl, you are the only one currently still in the truck, but flipped upside down, just blood running down your head. Everyone else has got your gimpy leg is no longer gimpy because it's also broken, and there's also an arm that's definitely gone. The nuke is nowhere in sight of you at the moment because it just went with the truck. Dennis, you are on the floor, and obviously Clint, you gonna say have also broken at least an arm, if not both. As you kind of try to recover your senses, you look up, you try to just get a hold of where you are. You see that there are 6 individuals just making their way into the plaza, the central square. And as you sort of kind of look, you just see these tall, sort of, they look like, I'm gonna say they have like the body type of a rugby player. They just look towards you, and they are also like looking around the central square. As you now see, Dennis, you're probably the one that notices. As you look up, you just see this statue of an individual that is difficult to discern what it is, but it just the statue seems to have outgrown its base, its original base, and he seems to have been just coated in paint. Just something. It's hard to say because of the darkness, but it definitely seems like they have made that statue theirs in a way. What does everyone want to do?
I am. I kind of stir from a brief blackout moment of unconsciousness, but I would like to scream out to Carl to see if he's still alive. Carl?
You hear some inarticulate noises from Carl, and he's rolled slightly out. Maybe there's some, like, I'm assuming this is like a big central plaza, and he's sort of rolled into one of the steps leading up to it and broken his leg. Fortunately, broken his already bad leg. And he's just, he's in a bad way, in shock. But can I make an attempt to see the footlocker from where I've landed?
Yeah, you can attempt. Yeah.
Very unlikely, but
So you roll all the dice that you have available, which is 2, plus your hope dice. And your hope dice is a success on a 5, don't forget.
5 and a 6.
I've got 1 6.
nope, 443. Sorry. Bugger. Well, I hope he's gone.
You keep it though. You keep it with you. But
Although this is very fitting for the last stand.
as you try to look around, try to get a sense of where you
1 dice.
where it might be, but you do not find it. These things are true. The world is dark.
In a very short space of time. In this city and the 9 cities nearest it, a nuclear bomb will explode and take probably the last of humanity. But as many of these people with it as possible.
We are alive.
We are alive.
We have entered the final scene of our story, which is known as the last stand. The rules still apply. It's all the same, with one difference. A failed conflict means death. And you have 1 dice. Or 2.
Lucky.
You try to still recover. Carl still looking around for the locker. These 6 individuals are making their way to you, and Carl, you notice that one of them is heading straight to the truck. Not heading straight to where you are, but heading to the back of it. And you just notice that others are starting to appear and looking around. You don't seem to be the main concern of these individuals. They seem to be looking for the bomb. What would you like to do?
So, just to clarify out of character here, we've probably all got 1 roll of the dice each, because we die every time we roll, right? Okay.
You die on a fail, yeah.
And the scene doesn't move forward like it does in the last one.
Nope.
We'll
It
just
remains until the last character is dead.
cool.
Okay. Well, I think realizing the situation and realizing that there's no point shouting out anymore. It's like, it's not every man for himself, because we're still all in the same boat together and we're still all fighting to reach this conclusion. I'm now obviously upside down, landed on my shoulders. I'm in the car. I'm going to try and drag myself out through the busted window and just crawl round to the back and see if the bomb is there.
Yeah, go for it. Roll a conflict for me.
It's a 1. So I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna tear up my card.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time to do it.
As well.
Man. Okay.
What is your card?
It's hard working, and I think that I'm absolutely brutally like disfigured in the way that we've crashed. Like my face is torn with glass, and even in the face of this, I'm like, I can't stop. We can't stop now. This is it. Like, you know, we're reaching the end now.
Go for it.
4. Sorry, lads.
As you just open the door, try to make your way to the back, there's immediately, as you try to look, there's immediately a hand that goes on your shoulder and pins you against the pickup truck, and you just look at the individual in front of you, and it's got your face. It looks like you, maybe slightly older, maybe slightly younger. It's just completely covered in blood. Nothing that they do is the reason why you die. You succumb to your injuries. What is the final sort of thought that goes through Carl's mind as that happens?
I think the last thought that travels through my head as I kind of bleed out under the shadow of this statue is a moment of fear as I realise that I'm at the end, and I'm not sure that we've accomplished what we were going to do. Obviously that being kind of one of my final memories, but also a moment of relief and kind of this proud feeling that, like, maybe we were the last members of humanity, but I think if any 6 people were going to do it, it would have been the people that they sent, no matter how wild or crazy or old or decrepit, but that if anyone was going to manage it, it was us.
And as your kind of vision just fades into black, I'm going to say the final, very final thing that you notice, one of the final things that you notice, is that there is a group of them that are converging on one location on the plaza that isn't where any of you are.
I think Reginald, seeing that, not like this, and he is going to, on the floor, broken legs, broken arm, just pull with all of his might towards this group, and again, and try and get to the bomb.
Go ahead.
He did 3.
You crawl your way through. You kind of escape their attention. It is the bomb. Their attention is kind of taken away from you because they focus on the bomb and a way to deactivate what is already rigged. And they just see the ticking clock on the bomb. About 2-3 minutes left. As you try to crawl your way, and just as you are about to reach it, there's just a foot that drops on your arm as one of them just stops you and then just throws your arm away. And again, the trauma and the blood is just too much. What's the final thought that goes through Reginald's mind?
I failed. It was all for nothing.
What's everyone else doing?
Dennis picks himself up from the mess, and he sees where people are congregating. There was the elite individual that we know is there. You said there was a handful of people going there. I, being somewhat less injured than the rest of people, will kind of, you know, get up and start into a run over this kind of, you know, pile of cars and wreckage and bodies, looking down upon what I assume is an area with the bomb and then these figures, and I will shout out to them, "Dog brothers! Will you face me?" And then I will run at them, and I am trying to just batter the lead guy with whatever mad force I have left. Not maybe not in an effort to actually do anything, but, you know, running down the clock. That's 4.
As you charge this individual, there's immediately like 2 or 3 of them blindside you, and just pin you down to the floor, trip you, roll you onto the floor, kind of press your head to the side against the asphalt, and this individual takes a second away from their attention to the bomb, kind of lowers themselves towards you, and just says, "You knew. You just wanted to be like them." And then just presses his own finger against your only functioning eye. And once that's gouged, the finger just keeps pushing into your skull.
And Dennis is.
And eventually, the cackling, mad laugh stops with a horrible crunch noise as Dennis has perished. Final 3.
Yeah, Carl does his best to sort of stand up, realises he can't. The bomb's going to go off, as far as he's aware. His friends are dying, the light is going out this world, and he can see in the distance those huge bonfires are starting to burn down now, and this is it, this is the end. And he, as a final attempt to distract at least some of them from finding this bomb, he stands up and he starts singing. And he has quite a nice singing voice, which you wouldn't expect.
The song.
I was born under a wandering star. The old cowboy classic. And he's just there, like, you know, he's just like bending forth and just trying to get as many of them to come towards him to buy a little bit of time.
Go for it.
6 on the magic dice.
Nice. I rolled 2 6s. So I say that you start singing, and there is the individuals around the bomb that are starting to actually like get to it and start to like work out what to do. They get sort of distracted and turn around, and that buys you, you know, precious seconds as suddenly this one that just crunched Dennis's head just turns to them and says, "Back to work!" and then just orders others to start charging at you. And we'll get back to you. Final 2 or final 3.
I am not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
I have no arms that I control left. Seeing somewhat of an opening, I'm not going to run at them. I am going to run in an attempt to have any single part of my flailing body touch any part of that and hope it's the button. That is a 6.
Yes!
Let's go.
3 6s on me. As you run towards it, and you eventually your hand gets caught on a part of the bomb, almost like your arm extends and turns into a very unnatural way that it can only do that if it's completely broken and shattered. But you find yourself just holding, like, stuck to the bomb somehow. And we'll get back to you, Lucy.
Yeah. So Lucy pulls herself from the wreckage of the car. Surprisingly, bone's still intact. And just like sees the devastation just surrounding it. It's very like bittersweet, all this death and destruction, and then Carl's like quite serene song playing out over the plaza, and just like, sees like this lot congregating round like what can only be the bomb, and sees Clint just hooked onto there. It's like, right, let's get it done, and just charges like full screaming down there, just trying to like pull them like away from bomb, using the pistol if need be to put them down. Just rip and tear until it's done.
Go for it.
A 3.
You charge and you make your way through a number of them, but eventually it's too many bodies to get through, especially in the dazed state that you're in. You empty your chamber, so you take 5 with you, and you keep going, but they just keep piling on to you, and eventually, just with the sheer weight of people that you have on top of your bones, they just collapse and break. Your rib cage goes, your neck goes, and eventually your heart will explode just with the sheer weight of people. What are the last thoughts that Lucy has?
She thinks about her mother, and that she will see her again in heaven.
We hear the singing voice from Carl. And Carl, you do see that Clint is on the bomb, ready. Clint, 5 seconds. You look, and you see the time. Others have now noticed that something is there that shouldn't be. 4 seconds. They are charging against Carl, trying to shut him up, trying to stop distracting. What do you do?
This is enough adrenaline to last this junkie a lifetime. Press the button.
Go for it.
That is a 1. I will use my addicted virtue as an adrenaline junkie.
Addicted virtue?
Vice. That is a 4.
Godspeed.
You see 3 seconds as you're about to fall onto the button, but someone just puts your head to the side and tries to like just tear the shell of this thing open to try to get cables, anything. Carl, what do you do?
I remember my ice hockey days and my hour after hour of training, and it's left me, even with my leg, my now broken leg, really strong. And my voice I just sing louder and louder as a challenge as they're coming to swarm me, and I pick up a bit of rubble and I just like hoon it towards the guy that's on top of the bomb, just to make sure, or try to make sure that at least our bomb goes off as a final thing, knowing that it's
Chain reaction hits you.
Come on.
6 again on the lucky dice.
And I'm going to say with that then, that you throw it and you see it just fall next to the head of Clint. As suddenly, all of you remain just with enough conscience that you don't hear it. You feel the warmth, and you are blinded by the sheer light that comes from the center of this plaza as the nuke just explodes out. Buildings just fall, completely like annihilated from the face of this earth. The smoke cloud reaches up to the skies, but completely covers what is already a dark sky. But for the first time in about 10 years, there is sickeningly a light that illuminates this place for a while. As you all perish, but with a sense of a mission completed.
Go on, Carl.
Unwavering.
And I would like to just do a little something.
This is it. I'm going. It's gonna be worth it. I wanna get rid of these bastards. Wish us luck. Death is not the end. It never was the end. It's not the end. It can't be the end. I'm not religious, but there's more. There's gotta be more. We've fought this far, this hard. Each and every one of us has given our last. I think it's only fitting that we go out this way, taking the fire straight to them. Hey, Mum. I'm glad you're not here for this. Yeah. It's rough. The front lines we've been fighting. It's... At what point do we just call quits? Faith is dwindling. Everyone's my own. I wish it weren't, but love you. I'll see you on the other side. Hey, y'all. I'm feeling lucky, punk. I can't stop. I can't stop. Can't stop picking things up and taking them. I will find release, and I will find freedom from these shackles.
These things are true. The world is dark. But we are alive. Thank you very much for watching and staying with us for this game of 10 Candles. I hope you had a great time. We certainly did, telling this story for you. That's it for today. The stream will be back tomorrow, although it is already the new day. But join us again at 10 a.m. as we kick off with a solo game run by Alex. Thank you very much. See you soon.